Hello and welcome back to Boys Gone Wild. Thank you for being patient. We have taken one of our very few weeks off. I always feel the energy in the air gets a bit salty when we take a week off. Do you know what I mean? That you feel like,
Yeah.
There's just a feeling of like there's some negative energy in the air.
Well, we've given them too much of a good thing.
Yeah. What do you think they're getting cocky with it?
I think they're getting cocky with it because this requires quite sustained energy, actually.
Yeah.
And I think in order for the quality of the pod to maintain, we've got to have some weeks off. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Sean called me and had a go at me for not taking a week off. He was asking if I took a week off the Patreon, and then he said I was stealing. And then
what do you mean?
Because he doesn't take the weeks off his Patreon, and I was like, yeah, because your podcast is 20 minutes, mate.
Yeah, it's 20
minutes. And you shoot them all in like a day.
That's true.
This is the emotional toll this podcast takes on us is immense.
Look at that massive mug.
Look at this. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for enjoying your Christmas. I hope you guys had a good Crimbo. Did you have a good Crimbo?
Thanks for enjoying your Christmas, guys.
Yes.
I really appreciate that.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Which is a funny thing to say. No. I don't think I've ever heard someone thank someone else for enjoying their own Christmas.
And a happy new year.
Yeah. Did you have a good Christmas?
I did have a good Christmas. It was Christmases are getting generally better and better.
Really?
Yeah, they're getting better.
It's an unpopular opinion.
I mean, from that dip of them being like the best thing ever.
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that the magic of Christmas was removed because of COVID.
How so? Because every day was Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could when you spend every day with your loved ones,
they're no longer your loved ones.
Exactly.
They're resented ones.
Exactly. No, it's more that because everyone took like a couple of years kind of off from Christmas, that it wasn't, there was something that the magic was lost in a way. It wasn't everyone. I think there's also an expectation.
That circle was broken.
if you will. But I think there was kind of it's an expectation thing, which comes up far too often. But that, we're going to come back for a big Christmas. There's no COVID, essentially. I mean, it exists, but not to enough of a degree to change anything.
Yes.
But people were saying it didn't really come back as hard as they thought it would.
Didn't hit as hard. Wasn't as Merry Litmus.
Merry Litmus.
Yeah. When you say people, could you...
No, I
how
don't.
Big
not names. I wish to protect my sources.
No, not names, but I'm just saying, like, out of the polling you did,
I spoke enough? It's probably...
If it's one person, is what I'm asking. Is it one person?
It's 3.
Okay.
3, and it wasn't...
That's sizable. That counts.
And that's 100% hit rate.
I just need to check that it's not one. That's the key thing.
Yeah, no,
I think we both have a habit of saying, people are saying this, and then it's one of our incredibly mentally ill friends said it. And then we use that to extrapolate
vast sets of data. It's true. But no, this is... I've heard
3 people is fair.
3 people's enough. Yeah. But I think we were talking in conjunction with the age. People are getting to I think we discussed this actually last Christmas. But, you get into an age where it's the magic is well and truly gone. And you can't... And you're not really enjoying it with a family. No. As in your own kids or something, where you can kind of instill that magic in them. It's now just a bit like, I've got to see my uncle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though my uncle's a great guy.
Yeah, I thought you liked your uncle.
I do like my uncle.
It seemed like you were throwing some shade. But
no,
that was a broader...
It's the funniest one to do.
It was a broader point.
Well, if I had to see my Kerwin uncles, that would have been a different thing.
How many of them?
Steve, Michael, Anna, Patricia, William's my father. There's only 2.
You only got 2 uncles.
They're all women. Steve, Michael, Mary, Anna, Patricia, William, Bernadette, Elizabeth.
The Irish.
Yeah, a lot of them are women. I've never really realised that. Steve, Michael, Mary, Alan, 3.
Something that we're trying to work on.
And then Dad's 4, so it's 4 out of 8.
Because now we've got a pretty good... It's like basically the side of the family that I like to spend time with the most are so badly organised. They're great people, but the ship runs so poorly. It's sort of like being stuck in a... Sort of like a Peter Rabbit novel.
Or just like a ship.
No.
Poorly run, stuck in the ocean.
They're all this side of you've met Fee and Andy. They're like they're like characters from a children's book.
They're like Roald Dahl characters.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? They're like these people shouldn't exist. They're like the quaintest people you've ever met.
Big glowy faces.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? Going to their house is a lot like the house in Ron Weasley's.
Yes.
House in Harry. That's very much, and it's that sort of clutter and mess. So that side of the family, they're great people. Really get on with them. but it's just
You go in and there's like a bird.
But then I think what I've realised is that
a pot of gravy.
because my aunt is so my aunt's never been earlier than 2 hours late for something in her life. She's and has no concept of time.
That's mad. That can't be true.
No, there was a bit of exaggeration, but never.
She's never been earlier than 2 hours late.
Just no conception of time.
She sounds like a bitch.
I thought you said you just liked her.
I love your aunt.
Yeah.
But if she was 2 hours late, minimum to everything, I'd hate her.
It's not far off. I'll tell you that for free.
This big mug is going to be a nightmare.
But my mum's actually not that much better. So I think the main problem I have with that side, and even being at home, is that the delegation of tasks is so poorly done. And my mum is so bad at communicating.
Is this on Christmas Day?
This is the whole, because I'm there for 8 days, remember?
Right.
And she insists on homemaking everything.
Yeah.
So everything basically all the food has to be on such a high standard, which I guess is nice. But at what cost? I sometimes ask.
What's she homemaking that's extravagant?
Sort of like little macaroons, bread sauce, cranberry sauce, the fucking bread sauce we need.
Right, yeah.
Do we need to make that? Do we have to get? Do
That's
we need
true.
to stress about we're
I think
out of time? Do we need
sauce is a line that you say? Just fucking buy it.
Just buy it.
Just buy it.
It's not. The cranberry sauce is really good, but do we need or sort out before mince pies? She makes her own mince pies. It's like just get your everything's homemade. Does it have?
Yeah.
And the amount of stress it causes.
She doesn't really want to spend any time with her family.
No, exactly. So it's a lot of washing up and setting up and just
blending cranberry sauce is a good excuse not to catch up with the children.
Exactly. So I think we're and they're quite against sort of takeaways or any sort of eating out, but then they spend similar amounts of money on homemaking every item.
They've got to make their own biryani.
Exactly. It's biryani. Yeah.
It's a takeaway.
Yeah. No, I get it now. But they're all like that. They all have this weird. They all always this whole side of the family have to always be walking or cooking or cleaning. There's no
sitting.
Basically, sitting is sin.
Yeah.
It's like you being allowed.
If you stop moving, you'll die.
Yeah. And then my other side of the family, my dad's side of the family, always half an hour early.
Yeah.
Always on time, never miss. Like my grandparents are in their 90s and they were still just never late for anything. Everyone's always there. No one forgets anything, and the vibes just aren't there though. You know.
Why? Because they sit down.
Well, just because we're just all kind of nasty fuckers. We all know it.
Yeah.
But that whole side of the family, they're all just like.
No one really cares.
Everyone's got a nasty edge to them.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of autism on that side.
Yeah.
So it's stuck between, autism and ADHD.
Yeah. You either have to continuously stir the cranberry sauce, or you have to sit in silence.
It's sort of like it feels like a German and Italian,
Right.
Germans turn up on time, not great to talk to. Italians, they're fucking your wife, they're late, but they bring something.
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
How about your Christmas?
It was very nice. It had a rocky start because I went down on Christmas Eve and then I was staying at my sister's.
Was there not
house.
train strikes?
Yeah, but I got the last one.
Oh, nice.
No hitches. Thanks for asking. Got to Burgess Hill. And I immediately felt like I was in Burgess Hill. Burgess Hill was the most...
What, when you got out of Burgess Hill?
I felt I was in Burgess Hill. That's exactly what I felt like.
Spooky.
Pretty weird if you ask me.
Was it because you saw the train station sign that said Burgess Hill?
No, I saw Burgess Hill Florist. I was like, I think I'm in Burgess Hill now. I think I might have made it to Burgess Hill.
There's a creepy vibe around.
No, you can... Everyone... There's a thickness to the atmosphere in Burgess Hill. I've never...
The air hangs thick.
The air hangs thick. Yeah. But the thing I notice the most about Sussex is they use the word pikey so liberally.
What, Sussexans?
Anyone in Sussex uses the word pikey, which I understand is a bit of a slur, isn't it? It's not. But
is that not countryside? I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely everyone gets away with it. It's like stepping into a different age where different words were acceptable, but there is a different level of it being accepted there. But
were you quite taken aback by the use of pikey?
Oh, a lot, yeah.
Were you quite? Did you take offence from your Metropolitan liberalism?
I went, actually, guys, I've lived in London for a couple of years.
You can't be so.
And we've decided together that you can't do that. You can't do that.
Pikey? How bad is pikey though?
It's not good.
It depends how much stank you put on it.
I think it's more about the frequency of which you use it, which I think I heard about in genuine honesty, from my weekend there, I probably heard about 10 pikeys.
10 pikeys.
10 pikeys. And used in...
Was there any... Were they referring to any, for want of a better term...
Pikeys?
No, I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say
no,
that
I'd say
either.
travellers.
But that's not what a pikey is. No,
is
you're
to me.
thinking of gypsies. Yeah, your mind's just been blown. You know fucking...
What are pikeys?
Well, that's a good question.
So it has to be offensive unless...
I think it's a bit like a use of chav.
Like an asbo.
Chav.
Okay, I guess chav, yeah.
Pikey. Is that with a Y?
Yeah.
I know, maybe it says a traveller or Romani person.
Yeah, it's a racist term for gypsies.
Is it? But well, that's not how they use it. I've never understood. I thought like pikeys would be for me, and I think how they use it in Burgess Hill is kind of like Bovril people.
Yeah, bog folk.
Bog folk. See, these are words they should be using. It's far less offensive. No, like a horrible. There's got a class stank to it.
Sure.
But it's more because there's quite working class people who are saying it, but it's the people who choose to like live in Bovril. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it just always sits, but it's used as a descriptive word rather than as an insult.
Well, like a factual thing.
Yeah, so those Bovril people who came round.
Oh, the two pikeys. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, the pikeys a bit of a yeah. It was the pikeys down the road. It was like, oh yeah, they're a bit pikey, and I'm just trying to eat my lamb.
Mother's a pikey. He's half pikey.
Yeah. Well,
Dad's a jippo. Mum's a pikey.
But there's definitely that was what I was most taken aback with.
Have you ever eaten a pikelet?
What, a pikelet? Yes.
Yeah. Do you get offended by that?
Yeah, a bit. I'm just like, can we just call it something else? Because I've got a very sensitive frame of mind.
It's a thin crumpet.
Yeah. We've spoken about it on the fucking podcast, the
right.
pikelet. But that was strange. There's definitely an atmosphere. It was nice to be back in Sussex. I had a great time. But and I went out to Burgess Hill, and it's just, I told you about that accent that my cousins have, that everyone of that age, because I was hanging out with them as well, and they're like 20, 19,
How do you
18.
fit in?
I don't really.
Do they think you're a Nancy boy?
I think they used to think I'm a Nancy boy. They definitely used to take, like, because they're both younger than me, so I've got two male cousins.
Because you're
on my
getting a bit
mum's side.
Metropolitan, I can imagine, a bit rich for their blood.
Well, they were always my like punching bags because they were younger, so I used to bundle them and have fun.
Wait, who
with
is
them.
this? Sorry,
Reese and Tom.
Cousins,
Mum's
English,
brothers.
English.
Yeah, English cousins.
Yeah.
It's never the dad. It's
Irish.
never dad's side.
Because they're pikeys.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Do you think that's why
This is why I get offended.
Do you think that's why you get offended?
That's my cousins you're talking about, actually.
That's all 27 of my cousins.
It's true. Yeah, they are.
It's because you're half pikey is why you took offence.
I'm half pikey. That's what it is. I'm half pikey.
Do they know you're half pikey?
I don't think they do, because I think because I am half pikey, but I'm half pikey, but it's definitely not. It's not showing.
No,
there's nothing about me that
apart
reeks of
from
pikey.
Yeah,
because Dad kind of split from the pikeys.
Sure.
So They don't see pikey in me, and I think they could probably see more. They see Nancy boy definitely. But
they don't know that under this Nancy boy clothing, you're a pikey.
I think, fortunately, because of, in honesty, to answer your question sincerely, at the risk of
alienating half of our fan base,
everyone. No, I think they've. So they used to think I was a Nancy boy. Yeah. I think they're a bit like, oh, he does. They like the comedy and stuff.
Sure.
So I think they show me off to their friends a bit because they're all on TikTok, so they all know who we are. That was one of the most I've been recognised was at a Burgess Hill pub
by strangers.
Some strangers, but then like to be
were
fair,
you a local celeb?
If there was, it looked like I was making a New Year's Eve appearance, like a Christmas Eve appearance. And we've got that guy from TikTok.
He's gonna host the bingo night.
I will. I'll be like, and the next one is 54. No, but I think, and also part of it is because
you should start doing stag do's where you get handcuffed to one of the stags.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. I've been dragged along with this. This is awkward. I think.
Was this when you messaged me? Was this on Christmas Eve when you went with the Burgess Hill boys?
So that was different.
That was with your sister's
boyfriend's friend. Then I went back to have and we got, and they drink. I was out with the rugby lads.
Yeah.
They drink like trauma drinking. and they've got it.
Yeah.
They've all got it, and it all comes out.
Yeah.
But there's a joyous thing in the way that they will laugh at anything, and you've got to respect it. Anything about themselves. I heard the most harrowing story I have ever heard about one of them, and he was absolutely taking the piss out of himself doing it.
Yeah.
It became a running joke.
Yeah.
That he was abused as a child on several occasions. Twice.
It was twice.
It was twice, and you got to respect that. I was kind of in awe. I was in awe of the, that's if...
Where you told me about this, about your sister's boyfriend's friends, and there's this sort of joyous... A lot of stuff that's unhealthy and not looked at, but forget about that.
Forget about that.
Forget about that.
Look at the comedy.
Look at the comedy. So on the surf, obviously there's a lot of stuff that needs to be unpacked maybe, but when you're all drinking with people you would rarely see,
yeah,
he was opening up about being twice sexually assaulted as a child.
Yes.
Now, in stand-up, obviously...
Annoyingly, because of my conversation with him, every time you say that, I laugh, because I can picture him talking about it.
Yeah,
it was
and it's
funny.
obviously very serious, but...
Well, it's not for him. Well, it is for him, but he's laughing about it, so we're allowed to laugh about it. About him, not about other people.
Yeah.
Because he offered it up as a joke.
Now, obviously, going to Edinburgh every year, a big part of Edinburgh is artists working through their trauma, often through comedy.
Sure.
And there's a lot of craft written.
It was like a mini Edinburgh in the pure pub in Burgess Hill, yeah.
How much craft did he have on the storytelling aspect of his trauma?
I don't want to do him a disservice.
Was there pathos?
There wasn't any pathos. No, it's mostly just and it's a different kind of comedy to the pretentious Nancy boys in Edinburgh trying to work through their trauma. This is, I'm going to say, the most aggressive thing I can say.
Yeah.
And say the joke comes from when he's talking.
There's not subtext there.
There's no subtext.
No.
It's pure.
I got assaulted as a
worst.
child.
I'm going to keep saying the worst thing that happened to me, but louder and make it worse.
To stop the voices.
To stop the voices. But my word, did I laugh?
Yeah. Did he get you?
He got me. I was on the floor at one point because it was fucking hilarious. Because you can't contend.
You can't beat that. Yeah.
Because it's like in the way he's saying it, and I'm just going to clarify. I wasn't really drunk, and he was opening up to us, not making any jokes. So I'm like, then what happened?
He did what?
It happened again, did it?
Christ, we're coming in hot this year.
We are coming in hot. Well, no, it's not. But it's an interesting conversation about how people deal with trauma. I mean that. Well,
how interesting was that conversation about?
Fascinating.
Did you discuss?
No, but it wasn't. It wasn't what was
conversation
discussed
about how do you do it. That you didn't, as a group, you guys didn't discuss how interesting it is how people do.
Well, we did no, but it was more. That was what was implied.
Sure.
No, because part of it was because my sister's training to be a psychologist and a counsellor at the moment.
Key worker.
Yeah, she's a key worker.
Good. Namaste.
Namaste to her. It's Christmas after all. And she is like, she looks at him and in a very justifiable way goes,
oh, she knows him as well.
Yeah. And he was like complaining how she hates him. And I was like, I'm not surprised.
Because of what happened to him?
Because of what happened to him, and Melissa can't deal with any kind of trauma for anyone else.
She finds it disgusting and
really,
blames the victim.
Really hard in her line of work.
What, being a victim blamer?
She's a key worker. She's not a good one. So
she's got a lot of controversial essays.
She does, which shouldn't come out.
Always the victim's fault.
Always the victim's fault. But so when she's obviously met him loads of times, and will have been privy to this joke because he won't change for anyone. I'll tell you that much. But she obviously looks at him and goes, Jesus Christ, you need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
And he goes, fuck that. I'm going to go and drink with my friends and make jokes about it. Now, look, you should go to therapy, obviously. But at least he's talking about it. At least it's not eating away at the insides, at least. And like, he will speak more seriously with his... I mean, I only met him for like 4 hours. He will speak more seriously with some of his other friends. And with Joe, actually. The conversation did go serious. We had a chat about it, and then it kind of went up and down.
Okay.
But at least he's out there talking about it.
He's like a conductor about how the people laugh.
A conductor of child molestation.
No, yeah, because it is his fault. No, he's a conductor of how other people are allowed to laugh at his trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
So as soon as he comes in, you're on the floor laughing. But like that, you have to stop immediately. You have to stand back up and then be like...
But that's fun. That's my ideal night.
Because as soon as he starts laughing, then suddenly... all the laughter's off the table. Then it's like...
But then you're there. Yeah.
You got your glasses on.
Well, in honesty, he didn't want. I was pushing it. I probed a little bit. I kind of went with a gentle chopstick rather than a fork.
Sure.
I kind of just touched him on the belly.
Yeah.
Because we had Chinese.
Yes.
And I went, what's this?
The trauma chopstick.
It was, hey, come on, mate, more. No, I kind of prodded a little bit because I was like, this is mental. I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Just about how he was feeling about
You
it.
don't get this stuff all the time. This doesn't happen fall in your lap.
It doesn't, because I see all the
People
same
in London
people
go
all
to
the same
fucking
time.
therapy.
I know all of their traumas. They're not as interesting as his.
No.
His was great. Not good,
Not
but great.
but great.
But great.
In the way the British Empire was great.
It was well,
great.
no.
Like,
Yeah, well, no. I'm rejecting the metaphor.
but not necessarily good.
I'm rejecting it because it was great to be privy to a conversation like that.
Okay.
Rather than it being massive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Go.
But that that was great, and I just found it interesting. Just in the way of dealing with it because they're rugby lads, so partly you'll expect you've got. I always find it very moving as well when someone like that gets quite emotional.
Oh, mate.
It
Gets
gets me in a place that I didn't think
A big bear man opening up about his emotions.
and he was a big bear man.
Yeah, yeah.
I was with two big bear men.
Because it is silly.
Yeah.
It's undeniably silly to be muscly and sad. Crying, it is visually. It is.
Again, I wouldn't go that far.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. If you're like stuck in the 60s, it's kind of funny. Oh, muscle man cries.
You know, like the ape-like kind of figure and the tear. It is visually, it's a funny image.
But that's
Especially,
that's problematic.
Yeah.
I hate to drop that word.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the child rape.
Well, it's more that he had like quite funny. He had a mullet.
Okay.
That's funnier to cry at when you got a mullet, because a mullet is the definition of I don't care about anything. Mm-hmm. This man had things to care about.
Sure.
But yeah, so that was nice, and it was just interesting to see behind the veneer of the rugby lads. It was definitely the same. The drinking. Fuck me. I came down, and within about 2 hours, I made the mistake of saying I like whiskey.
Yeah.
So I think within 2 hours I'd had something like 6 pints and 3 whiskeys.
Yeah.
So I felt dreadful on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That was a whole different thing.
It's like you with festivals. It's the same thing.
It's just first day. I get too gassed. Get far too gassed, and then it all goes downhill. Best Christmas ever.
No,
not the next day.
Worst Christmas Day.
Just throwing up in my sister's toilet.
Christmas Day. Merry Christmas.
Who is OCD and is afraid of vomit.
Good to have you back, Drew.
Good to have me back.
So I guess what I find interesting about that is there any way that he could have been molested as a child and not gone to therapy?
Yeah. And just done rugby.
And actually been all right with it? Can you just be okay with something like that happening? Or is it always going to be unresolved trauma unless you resolve it? Is there no way?
Well, it depends what you mean by okay. I think you can be a functioning member
25
of
pints in Burgess Hill.
I think he sounds pretty okay to me. He was kicked out at 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, that's still
on
within,
Christmas Eve.
still within the remit. That's still okay.
We just need to do that. Well, no, okay, yeah, but okay, you can probably be a functioning member of society, but you're probably going to have there's going to be something going on.
Always.
There's going to be a coping mechanism
Always.
happening. And that coping mechanism, I mean, you could look successful from the outside because you might have developed like narcissism, and that will kind of allow you to be successful in this society.
Yeah.
But so it might not be overt, but there's going to be something that happens. I think. There must be.
Yeah, it must be, surely.
There must be.
Maybe there's a couple of cases.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. There's only 2.
Maybe 2. But again, it's like, yeah. Well, but then you could say like no one's really okay. What is completely okay?
Yeah, that's what I would say to him when he's telling me about
Be
his
like,
trauma.
I get it, but everyone's struggling. See the cost of living.
Everyone's got trauma.
I felt anxious last week, so thanks for asking me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest is good actually. Kind of just standard. You get drunk with a lot of alcohol. I've felt it in the last few days, but we're back now. But
does your English side go harder than your Irish side?
I don't spend time with my Irish side.
Okay, sorry.
The amount of times I've told you on this podcast I tell you all this all the time. Don't ask me about the Irish side because I don't know the fucking answers. I don't see them. But then I've accidentally got a new Christmas tradition, which I realised I did last year. But every time it gets Christmassy, I crave watching the entire catalogue of Mission Impossible.
The entire catalogue?
I watched it all. And I fucking loved it. Mission Impossible is great.
Great. Well, I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Are you watching this solo?
I watched every single one of them by myself, yeah.
Every single one?
Every single one of them by myself. It was a me time,
So how does that manifest itself during Christmas Day? Are you getting up early?
I didn't say I watched it all on Christmas Day. I watched...
Where's Andrew? I think he's on Mission Impossible 4.
I'm on 3. Give me an hour. No, I watched them throughout the close Christmas period. So
you weren't down for that long.
No, I didn't watch them all when I was down. I watched one.
Okay, so you watched some back up here.
Two before I left, but that was like the 20.
Did you watch any with your girlfriend?
None, no.
None?
She wouldn't get it.
So all of them?
All of them by myself.
How many?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, then I think it goes Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation. There's one more.
Because I know you've got this in your locker. This is you're actually a big franchise guy.
Yeah.
You love sitting into a franchise and that's my week. That's me
sorted.
It's like meal prepping.
Yeah, it is.
You're like great. That's what I'm watching.
Got more Tom later. I've got a bit into Tom Cruise. I was looking up all the stunts and stuff. It's very impressive.
He is impressive.
He's an interesting man because I think he got. I was so when I was getting conscious of films and celebrities, he was the Scientology guy, and it's a shame because he should be the stunt guy. Sure, he does.
You think stunt should? He's a stunt guy.
I think he should be the stunt guy.
No, I love Tom Cruise.
He should be the action film guy, not the Scientologist.
But he's a freak.
Yeah,
he's a genuine freak.
Yeah.
But I just find it so impressive. All of his box of every film he does well.
Yeah, of course it does.
No one has better numbers than him.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Because you feel the stunts.
Did I talk about this on just in little tidbits about him?
Right.
He has a portable gym that he takes with him from set to set.
What the fuck does that even mean?
So crush down. It's like a build. Is his gym
like a pop-up tent?
I imagine it's better than that.
Inflatable?
No, yes, it's inflatable.
Like pull-up bars.
What's
inflatable dumbbells? It's
only
Tom's
allowed in this gym. All right, so it's probably like a trailer or something. And above it says, "Only the motivated may enter."
Love it.
Now only he's allowed in there.
Yeah.
You can imagine that's
Shade.
not the only thing because that's written on the door.
Yeah.
That's what everyone else can see. Imagine the shit.
They're not allowed in there.
Imagine the shit. Because they're not motivated.
They're not motivated. It could be interpreted as a bit of a dig to the crew.
But what I love is his focus is just fascinating.
Yeah.
Only motivated. Yeah. What do you think? He's definitely got shit written on his dumbbells, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Only the powerful may lift. Imagine the shit that he's got written all over that mobile gym. If that is what's on the front door.
Well, I think
pull-up bar.
I think it might be because if you look at the behind-the-scenes footage of Mission Impossibles, which
I haven't managed to catch,
I'd recommend you all do. That there's,
is this DVD extras or YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, it would be DVD extras back in the day, but now it's more available on the internet.
Media's changing.
The
media landscape.
Well, a lot of people are skeptical about it, but if it allows me to see the full catalogue of behind-the-scenes footage of the Mission Impossibles, I think we've done pretty well. Yeah. But he's on it all the time. It's coordinating the stunts. It's partially directing. He is
Tom Cruise,
Ethan Hunt. He is him. And
because that is his that is. Everything else is a variation on Ethan Hunt. Tom Cruise does really.
Yeah.
It's
Jack
like
Reacher.
More Ethan Hunt, less Ethan Hunt, but Ethan Hunt is base zero. That is Ethan.
That's true.
That's
Tom clearly
Cruise.
His passion project.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
Even him and Tropic Thunder, that's bald, angry Ethan Hunt. If he was
is he in Tropic Thunder?
The big hand.
I can't remember Tropic Thunder.
His best role ever.
Really?
He plays a movie mogul.
Yes,
with the giant hands.
I do remember that.
Yeah. But everything is...
For a minute, I thought you mistook Tropic
Right,
Thunder
right.
with Top Gun, and I was about to have a field day, but it's a shame.
Or it'd be funny if I thought Ben Stiller was Tom Cruise for that whole film as well.
That's true. Or Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, that would actually be funnier.
because he does blackface.
Yeah.
But
so,
wait,
go on.
because so you
Shoot.
see him behind the scenes,
Pop.
Pop. Yeah, thanks, bro.
You go for it. Go for it.
So you see him across all the set, he spends a hell of a lot of energy and time. He's focused, he's locked in, he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's the only one allowed in the gym. I don't think it's a gym in there. I think that's his secret crying place.
Oh!
Only the motivated may enter gives it the veneer required so that no one comes in. It's
Just going to pump some irons in here.
Exactly.
The work never stopped.
comes out, wet face, sweat.
Yeah. Oh.
Ask more to go in there.
And what would it say? Only the sensitive.
It would be a really padded.
Only the sensitive
soft,
may sit.
It would be like it would be like a soft children's playground, where he
Like
can
a
just
sensory-
roll around in the woggles and cry. I'm confident in that because
no one else is allowed in there.
No one else is allowed in there.
Yeah, that's his special
And
place.
he seems to be quite community. He's, with the crew. He works well with people. So why would he say no to letting them go in their gym? Because the gym is actually somewhere where he cries. It's a soft child's playground.
If you're going to pull off that level of intensity, you do need to have a release.
You need to have a cry.
Yeah.
Only the motivated may enter.
Only the tearful may leave.
Only the tearful may leave.
So apparently, while he's filming, no one's allowed to look him in the eyes.
Too right.
And
He's Ethan Hunt.
he's Ethan Hunt. So he speaks over the tannoy. And
Wait,
goes,
what do you mean when he's filming?
when he's on
set?
set, you can't look at it. Well, I think when he's the scene started, when he's going to be filming,
Right.
no one looks. Yeah, I think just generally, and then he comes over the tannoy. Hey guys, you're all doing a great job. I love you all, but I just got to say, when I'm filming, it's just something that helps me focus,
Like
stay in the
he's in the
zone.
room.
Yeah, please don't look me in the eyes.
Well, that's like a quirky acting thing.
Yeah,
That's when he's shooting.
No, he's going to have all of this. He's a mentalist. The guy is a freak of nature. He had not lived a normal life. Of course, he's going to have this. But when you deliver those numbers, normally when you hear when you hear actors do that, you're like, oh, well, no. Tom Cruise is allowed to do it.
But they're behind the scenes.
How many Mission Impossibles are there?
There's 1, 2, and 3, and I think it goes Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and then there's one other. I think there's 6.
Could you rank? So I was talking with
God.
Matt on New Year's,
Yeah.
and we were talking about how one of the worst films we've ever seen is Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, the 2's the worst one.
It's so dog shit. It's actually unbelievable.
I would have liked to be included in that conversation, but that's fine.
Mission Impossible 3, I thought was really good.
Yeah,
With Philip Seymour Hoffman.
that is my controversial favourite.
I think it's the best.
Yeah, but
I haven't seen the others, so.
well, the others step up in terms because there's
2 is one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Yeah, 2's dog shit. 2's
Really
dog shit.
bad.
I'll get them all up.
So when you reach Mission Impossible 2, because
Yeah.
you'd seen them all before, hadn't you? Though, so this is a rewatch, wasn't it?
Of course,
Okay.
I did it last
Because
year.
if I reach Mission Impossible, you did it last year. What's your face when you're watching it? For all fail, just whoa.
So 1, 2, 3. There's 7. What one did I miss? Oh, that's the new upcoming one, which isn't there.
Are you gonna watch that in cinema?
It would be rude not to.
Do you feel that you?
No, that's what the fuck is Mission Impossible 8? Oh, that's 2024. They've got 2 planned. It is 6, yeah.
Now, how do you feel about
Fallout.
the famous? Yeah.
That's the last one.
How do you feel about the famous sort of the face morphing thing? Now, what's your views? So, if for those of you who don't know, do you want to explain the technology to the listeners?
I'm really upset you brought that up.
Why? What are your thoughts as a big fan of the franchise? What do you think about that as a narrative device?
I know the answer to this.
Can you explain to them what it is?
So in maybe all of the films. In maybe all of the films, they have this little box which you then open and
like a briefcase, sort of.
Yeah. It's a cube.
Sorry.
It's a cube,
Sorry,
Rachel.
sorry.
It's not like a briefcase. The technology isn't ready yet for it to be contained within a single briefcase. It's like a cube, and you basically input. You input someone. So like I think you need some DNA from them. So
like a fingerprint.
Like a fingerprint or some hair. And you put that into the cube. and then it whirs away, and it will basically sculpt their face out of the cube. And then when you put that kind of mask thing on, you then exactly become that person. And then you can put a voice modulator on, and
how's the voice modulator
so
work?
it needs to hear their voice, but that technology actually improved after Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, time's moving on.
Time is
people
moving
are always
on, and it's
developing.
fair. You know, that technology could develop. The thing is, they went pretty hard with that technology early on in the film, so
it doesn't have a lot of room to.
The voice modulator puts it on.
And what's that? What's this? What you seem to be pinching at your neck.
Yeah, so they'll put on a little plaster here. And you can kind of go, once they hear what their voice
sort of a plaster,
like, sort of a plaster on their neck, and then once that technology hears the voice of the person, just a sentence, or maybe a bit more. In Mission Impossible 3, when he's in the bathroom with Philip Seymour Hoffman, he needs 2 sentences. So once that's on,
the quick fox ran over the lazy dog. What's that thing?
Oh, you know that? I don't remember what it is, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
No, but that's different.
No,
because the technology is odd because sometimes they need that, sometimes they don't.
Sure.
They did in one film, never again.
Well, my phone sometimes doesn't charge properly.
That's true.
It's some of those faulty.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's like the different iPhones. But so you put it on, and once it's got the voice of it, you'll be able to then replicate their voice as well. So you essentially become the person. And how they reveal that on every time is you see them. It's always a kind of circular shot going round the room, and then they'll put the mask on, and then the camera will suddenly disappear behind someone else, and then once it's come up behind someone else, it's the actor. Yeah. It's the actor that they're impersonating playing it. Now, do you
think they use 2 shots, or did they quickly switch out the actors?
They use 2 shots.
The guy's not panting a bit because he's had to sit down so quickly. And you see Tom Cruise running, trying to duck behind a.
Now here's my thing with it.
Here's your take.
Here's my take on it. Okay. I like it when we know it's happening. When it's used to deceive us, I think it's cheap and lazy.
You're like, come on.
I'm
a big fan. I've already sold myself.
We're meant to be the good guys. I'm on your side. You've deceived me via the plot with that. That's when it becomes lazy. When there's a reveal, when they take off the mask, I go, for fuck's sake. Every time, that's fucking unfair. Yeah. But when they're using the technology and you know they're using it, great.
Yeah.
I think it's in Rogue Nation.
Sure.
When it's revealed that one of the guys, so the bad guy basically confesses everything to another bad guy, but it turns out that Simon Pegg is actually that bad guy.
Simon Pegg's under there.
And when it's used as a shock like narrative device for the audience, then I'm no, because you can't have this impossible technology that you used to deceive me.
Yeah.
I need to know that you're using it to deceive other people.
You can't invalidate every single person in the film
because
now everyone
it's an
could
infinite,
be Simon
infinite
Pegg.
loop.
Simon Pegg could be Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise could be Simon Pegg when they're just talking.
Exactly, and then it'll be a great bit to do. Just halfway through the film, it'll be hilarious. But
he couldn't possibly climb that building. Well, he is me.
That should actually be the start.
That'd be great.
To the next one.
Well, Simon Pegg's the one running up the skyscraper in Dubai,
and they just take it. And
you wouldn't ever be able to do that. Well, that's me. I'm that. I'm him.
Oh no, I think it would be more that everyone's in shock that Simon Pegg is climbing a mountain, and then it turns out they're just pranking.
Oh, so you wouldn't.
No, Simon Pegg can't. Otherwise, he loses his whole comedy perspective. If he becomes too efficient in the field...
Is it not called character depth, narrative arc?
Well, no, but then you have to bring in a new comedy character, and Simon Pegg's great.
Well, let's bring in another one. Or do you think Simon Pegg...
Perfect.
Job for life?
Job for life. Deserves it. I think it's brilliant.
Is that... Would you say...
And I like that he's in it, because it shows that one day we could be in a Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think, is that, like, there's obviously... He loses some of his cred as, like, a British comedy indie darling. But in a way... Is that the pinnacle of being a British comedian that you can reach? Being in the biggest, huge film franchise as the comedic relief. How do you get bigger than that? But I mean, that's sort of if it's jobs in an industry, that's kind of like the top.
Well, how are we
could hope for?
How are we ranking pinnacle?
It's definitely pinnacle in one way, I feel.
Of course, of course, it's a pinnacle.
It feels the furthest from an open mic you can get.
Yeah, obviously.
So
obviously, but
there's some always respect.
But is it the greatest art you can create? No. I'm not shitting on the Mission Impossibles, but it's not the greatest art you can create in the comedy world.
Yeah,
you're in an action film. You're not in a comedy film.
Yeah.
But he does work with it. He does work with it. So that I just say, don't deceive the audience. Bring the audience on board. Let the agents do the deceiving.
Yeah.
And deceive the enemy. Don't deceive us.
Yeah, we're your friends.
We're the friends.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next one. I think I will go see it in cinemas, actually.
Are they going to use the technology?
I don't think there's a single film yet which they haven't. Okay. So unless they...
Also, the height changes, they never address that.
Platform shoes. Don't ask me how they get shorter. Well, to be honest...
It'd be great if there's a tall guy and Tom Cruise is doing it. It's like, why are you on stilts?
Well, to be honest, it works because
why are you on stilts?
You can't get shorter, but it helps that Ethan Hunt's like 4'9" because he can always make himself taller.
Yeah.
No one's smaller than Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So it actually works.
Yeah, but then I do feel the stilts might give it away.
Perfect camouflage.
Why are you using stilt?
Yeah, something's changed about you, Philip Seymour.
Do you think it's the creaky wooden circus stilts you're using?
No, just practicing for a thing.
That is quite a you becoming quite a you thing. I feel you've realised something about yourself with this now.
Yeah,
you're like this. You know what? This is me.
Yeah,
this is.
Well, the thing is, because I watched
Mission Impossibles.
I watched the new Top Gun.
Yeah,
I thought it was shit.
Oh, really?
I thought it was
compared to.
Yeah, and there were you can't. It was good.
Oh, so you think because that's what's interesting actually? Because I remember we said it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
But I guess that came from a bit of like, I'm not really into those films. But you are into those films, so you're a bit more of a...
Well, I'm not into those films.
You're into Mission Impossible Rogue
I'm into
Nation.
Mission Impossible, the whole franchise. Because there's like... But that's how... I don't like action films because the action is boring.
Yeah.
But in Mission Impossible, the action is not boring at all.
No.
The action is fucking great.
Yeah.
And therefore it's entertaining. It makes you feel... You actually go like, fuck.
He's climbing a big...
Jeez, I'm in a motorbike.
I'm having sex with this lady.
Wow. Well, it's not smutty.
No, he's not
smutty.
Bond. Because Tom Cruise is not actually that sexual. He's not a...
No.
I don't really buy any... What he makes up for in literally doing a backflip off an aeroplane.
Ever done that?
Definitely sexual chemistry. I don't see him as a very sexually charismatic guy.
No, he's very much... Well, he was in love with Michelle Mahulahanen.
Yeah, Mahunahan.
Mahunahan.
Yeah.
And that's been a character arc.
Yeah.
Never explained why they didn't work out.
But Tom Cruise is gay as well. We know this.
Yeah, we do know he's gay, actually, which is why.
But we can't reveal.
We can't really.
We can't reveal. We can't reveal our sources, but we can confirm that Tom Cruise is a gay man.
You would never believe what the source was if you did know. I'm going to say it's Bill Murray. And that's as far as it'll go.
You can't out him. That's on Patreon.
Okay, yeah, fair. Bleep it.
We got it, yeah.
Bleep it.
We got to protect our sources. But Tom Cruise is a gay man.
Tom Crazy Cruise.
Tom Crazy Cruise. I think that the face thing makes a lot more sense. But when you realise it's just sewing, not because when he's gay, not because it wasn't referencing he's gay.
Oh, I thought he feels like he's in a different body.
What, like when he's pretending to be a straight
man? So the whole thing
man?
is a metaphor for him being gay, which is why they use that facial technology, because he feels he's living a lie to the outside world.
Mission Impossible.
Coming out.
But his hardest mission.
Ghost Protocol.
He's a gay man.
Rogue Nation.
Fallout.
Well, Rogue Nation. That's when he starts going to.
What do you mean Rogue Nation?
The gay clubs. That's when he starts going to the gay clubs.
Yeah.
Fallout is a penis out of his bum. The next one's pop it back in.
What Mission Impossible?
Pop it back in. Yeah, but I'd recommend everyone watch them. Genuinely, I had a fucking riot because I watched one when I started watching Mission Impossible 3.
You watch these in bed on your laptop?
Mission Impossible back in. No, I watched them in I bet on Mission Impossible 3 while I was working.
As you're working while you're doing it. What's it? It's Mission Impossible popping back in. That's got you.
Mission Impossible popping back in after Fallout. No, not in bed whilst I was working. I watch all the things when I'm working on my monitor.
So you properly watching them?
Well, no, that's the problem. So I started watching it because I thought it would be a good thing to put on whilst I work. But then I got 20 minutes through and I was like, I want to watch this properly. And then watched it of an evening.
We hosted New Year's here. It's quite a good place to host, I think, actually. I was sceptical.
I don't know. We've had so many things here. It's taken you 3 years, essentially.
No, I guess because, it's just like... It is a very uni-style house, but I realised we do have the biggest one.
Yeah, we have the biggest. We're very fortunate with the space we have.
Yeah,
but even though the space is filled with rats and mold, it doesn't matter. It's a party. Who cares?
It's true.
You don't want it in like a flat. When there's crampedness and you have to spend a lot of time to get from one point of the room to another, that's not fun.
Yeah. But it is in two sets. The one, obviously, it's a great solution, but... It's not the perfect layout.
Sorry, I'm thinking about Mission Impossible again.
Just what? Pop it back in?
Pop it back in. Sorry, I can't. This is laughing about it while some of the way. Sorry.
Well, the plan was to have a classy New Year's, wasn't it?
I think we nearly did it.
We nearly pulled it off.
We nearly did it. The numbers, because it was going to be like the close friend group from home.
Yeah.
And then maybe keep it around 15.
Yeah.
And then have wine, cheese, cocktails, put the hootenanny on, play some games.
Yeah.
And then we did half of those things.
Yes.
But
then we remembered who we were.
Well, it was always going to be a drunken affair. That was always going to happen. But it was a different kind. It wasn't like let's blare music, go old school party.
Yeah.
Because I think that was my idea, was that New Year's Eve is often a bad one because you're trying to do too much. You're trying to be like, let's play loud music, let's do loads of drugs, let's just have a cheese board in Jules Holland. Yeah. The only thing was I spent fucking ages talking about this cheese board and then buying cheese, and then I woke.
Why did no one eat it?
Well, because I woke up the next morning and I was talking to Elle and I just went, the fucking cheese board. I completely forgot. I forgot about the cheese board. That's why you've got a fridge filled with cheese at the moment.
I've been loving it.
I know.
Little mouse. And then we made nachos, which was very, very nice.
Yeah.
And then we tried, I think the idea of a board game we tried.
Well, we did a couple of successful ones.
It was a couple.
We were talking about the one at the end.
Yeah. Well, I invited some... comedians, friends of the pod, Paddy, Mike, Flood, the like. And I think there was a period in the kitchen where everyone was making cocktails. And that's where it really accelerated the night. Because it had actually started off as a pretty classy affair. But then...
Yeah.
There was
it was classy.
It was classy. There was so many cocktail stations.
Yeah.
And every time someone made a batch of cocktails, they wanted to give them to anyone who was standing near them.
Yeah.
So I ended up with 3 cocktails. I'd have an espresso martini, an old fashioned, and just a margarita.
Yeah.
And that within about 45 minutes, I think I drank maybe 6 or 7 cocktails.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's when it was... We really floored it.
Yeah.
And that's when it
was... Well, I was drinking from 2 p.m.
Yeah, so...
I was blazed.
I was fucked.
I was
absolutely fucked.
I was seasoning chili absolutely fucked.
Yeah.
So, well, not actually.
Did you have a good New Year's?
I had a great New Year's.
Yeah.
The classiness worked because it was nice. It was a good amount of people where it was still fun.
Smaller amount of people.
Nice. That because loads of our friends were away anyway. Yeah. So it was kind of everyone who's here come over.
And it wasn't that druggy a vibe. It was like...
No, it wasn't. Which is what was the intention was.
It with alcohol.
That was the intention.
What happens when...
And that's more fun.
It is more fun. But what happens when you don't have drugs, it does mean that you just fucking floor it when it comes to the alcohol.
Yeah. I fell asleep on the toilet.
Yeah.
At the end
I was worried about you. I thought you were in a bad way. I didn't know that you were jovially asleep.
No, I was quite jollily asleep on the toilet. There was like a whiskey.
Yeah.
On the toilet cabinet thing.
Yeah.
That was because that was the one that I'd put down, intending fully to come back to the party because it was basically when everyone was leaving to like say goodbye, and then I kind of woke up and only Martha was left.
Yeah, and then basically I'd assumed you'd taken yourself off to bed, and Ella had gone to bed like 2 hours before I thought you'd gone to bed anyway.
Yeah.
And so I thought she'd been asleep for like hours. And then Martha gets a message from Elle saying, "Where is Andrew?" And then I was like, "Oh no, I thought you'd been kidnapped.
It's
I thought you'd been bundled
it's
into
all
a van."
done. It's all done.
And then me and Martha carefully went down the corridor to where the toilet was. I was behind her shoulder going, "Ooh," you know, and then she called your name out. We don't know who was in there, you know, praying at least. And it was, yeah. And I was like, he could be.
Oh, maybe you woke me up.
No, it was Martha. But I was there.
Well, someone's sound woke me up.
Oh,
maybe. I can't remember waking up.
But you fell asleep. How did you fall? How can you show? How would you? If you sat on the toilet?
Well, do I need to demonstrate what it is to sit on the toilet?
But are you lounge back? How does one sleep on the loo?
Well, it's hard to know how you slept when you were asleep.
Is it head in hands?
No, I think it was lounge back. It was, if I had to guess, it was lounge back, arms akimbo, and then kind of jolted. It was probably 10 minutes I was asleep.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Do you think?
Yeah, I wasn't. Because
you had gone.
No, but everyone was saying their goodbyes, and that's when I went to the toilet.
Okay,
and that's when I went to the toilet.
Fine.
I hadn't been gone for that long.
Oh, I swear you'd gone for ages.
Like, what were you thinking? An hour?
I thought you'd been gone for about an hour.
No way. No way.
I hadn't seen you in ages.
Max 20 minutes.
I don't know, man.
Well, because everyone was saying their goodbye. I was asleep.
It was a long time getting out as well. Were you taking a shit?
Well, yeah. I was on the toilet.
So sorry, I know this is, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
I refused immediately.
So you're taking a shit.
Sure.
And midway through you fall asleep.
The mechanics of me falling asleep, I don't remember. I don't remember falling asleep because I didn't intend to fall asleep. It's like, it's hard enough asking someone in general, how and when did you fall asleep? I don't know. I was falling asleep. But particularly when it just hits you out of nowhere when you're on the toilet. I've got no fucking idea.
Yeah. Is that the first time you've fallen asleep while taking a shit?
It wasn't whilst. I think I kind of stopped for a second. I kind of stopped and was like, just let's relax for a second. And then that's when...
Let's stop caning it.
Yeah, I kind of relaxed my back and then that's when it all kind of went forward. But that is the first time that's happened to me, yeah. I've never happened to that. I've fallen asleep on the toilet floor, but that was when I...
It's a good way to see in the new year.
Well, the only other time I've fallen asleep in a toilet was in the first time I ever drank. And was being violently ill. Okay, yeah. And then fell asleep on the floor because I was just scared to go back to bed.
That's a good place to end the main app. We're going to do a Patreon episode now where we'll be talking about Andrew Tate, Greta Thunberg, Nepo babies.
The Free Sussex movement. How do you solve a problem like Maria?
Maybe on New Year's resolutions. Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next week.